Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel and welcome to the round 13 match preview. We've got the Gold Coast Suns Saturday night back at Marvel, 7:30 p.m. It's going to be a big game. The Suns, they're just snuck into the 8. They've beaten Essendon on the weekend in a pretty tight affair. And for us, we bounced back kind of against the West Coast Eagles. It was a tough battle. We were down for a lot of the game, but credit to the team. We went for the win in the last quarter, and it looked like we got a little bit of mojo back, but I've kind of hit pause on that because you just can't gauge it. It's too early. I want to see how we go in literally the first 15 minutes of this game because it's going to be massive. The Suns want to make finals for the first time in their history, and we just want to build into the season a little bit more. We've kind of been outside of the conversation, not really doing a whole lot, but I think in a game like this that is very much winnable, this bodes very nicely for us, especially with the current state of the team. Minimal injuries. Max King is going to be a test, so TBC on whether he lines up or not. But if he does, I think we're going to field a very, very strong team. So let's quickly go over the Gold Coast Suns key players. So I've got the stats here in front of me. Sam Flanders is flying. Obviously, Noah Anderson, Matt Rao, Touk Miller, Jared Witts. That midfield there that I've just mentioned is very damaging. They're number 1 for inside 50s. They're number 4 for goal assists. And they're second for hitouts with Witts in there. So their clearance game isn't huge. They don't actually rack up that many clearances. They're not even in the top 10, I don't think, for clearances. It's not even listed here. So as much as their midfield looks stacked, it's on the spread that they can really get you because Matt Rao, he's just a fitness beast. He runs all day. He's a tackling machine. Touk Miller, we all know. He is the engine in that midfield. Noah Anderson, he's just a class act. And then obviously down back, they've got a young Mac Andrew who's in very nice form. And Ben King, who's flying at the moment and looking pretty ominous. With Benny Long, special mention to Benny Long, ex-Saint. I think he kicked the 3 or 4 goals on the weekend against the Bombers and it was his best game for the Gold Coast Suns since moving over there. So it's a game that like we're going to have to just get these matchups right. So talked about it in the podcast, but obviously Marcus Winhager needs to tag probably Matt Rao. I don't think he goes to Touk Miller. I think maybe Jack Steele can do the job there. And then you've got Hunter Clark in the midfield. I think Brad Crouch is going to be an in this week. I think that Seb Ross is probably going to be managed. That's my tip. Pending any other changes. Dan Butler probably comes into the lineup. Unless we want to keep him as the sub again. I don't know if that is worth it, but I feel like in our current situation, it looked like the forward line with him and Higo kind of created a little bit more chaos that we scored off against the Eagles. And I think against the Suns, they've got some tall timber down there. If we can get King and Caminiti competing, obviously Tim Membry, bringing that ball to ground if they're not marking it and having the smalls that have been pretty serviceable for us over the years at their feet, then I think we can lock the ball in at least, have some high pressure, and then obviously get some scoreboard pressure from repeat stoppages inside 50. So it's a good time to have the last quarter that we did, but I'm still very much wary because our starts to games have been pretty average for the last 7 or 8 weeks. We don't come out with guns blazing. We do let the other team kind of dictate play, and then we try and grow into the game. Sometimes when the game's too far gone, we're too far behind the 8 ball. It's just too much work to be done. But in a game like this, where we're at Marvel and we want to get 20, 25,000 would be amazing. Probably only get 20 to be honest, but I'll aim for 25. We can go 5 and 8, and that's not bad. That's 2 games, 3 games out of the 8. Obviously, finals is not on the radar right now. We need to just build into the season, and we've been pretty good against teams that are above us on the ladder. Apart from Melbourne and the Dogs games, we've been pretty competitive in most games, and we've got a decent record against the Suns. They've won every game at home, but they have not won a single game traveling. So we want to make sure that stat stays that way. But if they do start getting the clearances and clean ones, that's when we're going to be under the pump because they just got the talent in the midfield, and it's a good time for us to get Brad Crouch back. I think, another lockdown type player, another really good tackler with Jack Steele in there. Hunter Clark laid 12 tackles on the weekend. He was in good form. Paddy Dow, 9 clearances. So we're starting to get that blend of toughness, maybe a bit of silkiness, and explosiveness out of the contest, which at the start of the year we had maybe 1, maybe 2 of those traits, but not all 3. So now we're kind of getting that bigger picture. Rowan Marshall and Witts, that's going to be enormous in this game. We don't want Witts to probably get too dominant around the ground. In the middle, we just got to negate those hitouts because he is, he's a top hit-out ruckman. That's his craft. Around the ground, he's probably not the most dominant. That's where I think Rowe can get him. And if we had a Jack Hayes, we'd be able to kind of rotate and get Rowe deep and hopefully hit scoreboard, but that's not the case. Their smalls are really, really good. They've got Ben Ainsworth, they've got Bailey Humphrey there. They've got some very, very good players. Fiorini. They've got a whole, like Alex Sexton. They've got all these players that rotate mid-forward, and they're all good for a goal or two. And then not to mention Jack Lukosius, who has been quiet the last couple of weeks. And you just know that if we give him a sniff in this game, he's going to, he'll kick the 3 or 4, and it'd be a very difficult day. So we've got to get those matchups right. Dougal Howard to Ben King, I would say. And then you've got Cal Wilkie kind of chopping out second, Tall, and then Josh Battle. I think that's probably the best matchup there. Mac Andrew probably goes to, I don't know, he goes to like a Tim Membry or a Caminiti probably. And then you've got Max King with Collins, I would imagine. I think that's probably the best matchup there. It's just, I think it's a game that you look at on paper and you think, they've got a decent midfield, but every team does against us. But outside of that, if we can run and spread and just bring the heat, they're still a very young, inexperienced team, and I think we've seen that even when they played Carlton at Marvel a couple of weeks ago. Clearances were pretty similar, but Carlton just upped the pressure and they cracked. And their two-way sort of running just wasn't there. They love to get forward, hit the scoreboard, but I think if we can negate those inside 50s and rebound effectively, and we started to get that going. We'd go for that kick in the middle of the ground at Optus Oval. It's a bigger ground, I know, and we like the bigger grounds, but Marvel, a bit more condensed, maybe more high pressure. Get in there, face Saners. Steely, we want another 10 tackles. Brad Crouch, come in and do that. Hunter Clark as well. Paddy Dow, get to the clearances. And then our backline, just hold firm, because I think if we do that and we get enough going forward, I think there might be something there for us to take out of this game. I wouldn't say I'm confident, but I'm bullish. I'm really bullish that we can get the win against the Suns. They're 8th, I know that, but I think at our best, even close to our best on the weekend, and I think we get the win. So it's going to be an exciting game. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really keen to see Gold Coast up close. They're kind of one of those teams that when Saints aren't playing, I'm kind of keeping an eye on them and seeing how they go, because there are a few players there that I really like Tuke Miller and obviously Ben King I keep an eye out for. But get to the game, Sainers. I'm really looking forward to it. They do have weapons across the ground, but I think so do we. And it could be, one of the closer games of the round. It's one that I think most tipsters would think, maybe Saints at Marvel, but Gold Coast are going okay. They did well against Essendon, but Essendon were just inaccurate, to be honest. They should have, if Essendon had a kicked, even at 60, 50%, they would have smoked them. But they took their chances and they got the win. And that's what, teams have to do in that situation. So if we can just kick straight, hold firm in defence, and just break even in the midfield, with Mason Wood, Wilson, Henry, Hill rotating on the wings, I think it's going to be a really exciting game, and one that, that I think we can absolutely win. So put your thoughts in the comments, Sanders. What's your biggest concern going to this game? Which matchup do you think we need to get right to get the win? And I'll see you after the game, hopefully for a live review. If not, it'll be a review. I'll hopefully go into the rooms post-game, and hopefully we'll be singing the song in there. So fingers crossed. Take care, Sanders. Enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, go you mighty Saints. See you guys.